Okay, now I'd like to have a look at a minor progression. This minor progression is in A minor, so it starts off on the 5th fret here, and the second chord would be a D minor, the third chord an F major, and the fourth chord an E major. Obviously, when you're looking at a minor progression, you can just play around in the A minor scale, which is the relative major to that would be C major, so you can start from an A and the C. So it's a good thing to know between the two to use for this. Okay, this is the sort of thing that I generally do over the A minor chord sequence. Now I'm going to break down the chord sequence and to what sort of notes you should use for each chord. We should start off with the A minor. You can just use the A minor scale. Or you can use an A arpeggio minor. But when it comes to the D minor chord, a note I like to hang on usually is the B note. It's the 6th of the D minor sort of scale, so it gives a kind of exotic sound. When used together. Another good one would be F. To hang on, because it's the minor note that makes up the D minor scale, and also it doesn't really work that well with A minor. It's an alright note to pass over. It's a good note to pass over on an A minor chord, but not to hang on. So, but it works fine with D minor because it's part of the chord. So F and B are good notes to land on when it comes to the D minor chord in the progression. When it comes to the F chord though, one note that we haven't used yet at all would be an E flat, but that'll actually be the 7th of the F chord. It'll make it, if you land on it, an F7. Well, the reason why it's good to use that note in this situation is E flat doesn't really go with D minor or A minor. It just doesn't. It just doesn't really go at all. So, but it does go with the F chord, which is the 7th. So it's a fresh note that hasn't been used at all in the sequence that you can break out and use when you get to the F chord. So, and the last chord in the progression is the E. And you can just use an E arpeggio. Okay, so we've got the normal A minor scale to base the whole sequence around. When it gets to the D chord, play a B or an F. When we get to the F chord, a good note to play is the E flat note, because we haven't used it yet and it doesn't go over the other chords. And when you get to the E chord, a E minor arpeggio is good to use. You need to wake up and be confident with the notes, knowing when to hit them and when not to hit them. You don't want to be playing, like, for example, an E flat when it gets to the A minor chord that's got an E in it. It will just sound very bad. For example. So it's good to be aware of what notes, when they're used and when they're not used, and what chords they should be used with. You need to be aware of the notes in the chords and when to use them and when not to use them. It's all about control. To control when you can use notes and when you can't use notes in relation to the chords and the backing. That's why you need to know every note on the guitar and to know what notes are in the chords that you're playing with. Otherwise there's no way that you'll be able to improve playing the guitar. It doesn't matter how fast you can play. If you can't play in tune and correctly, you're never really going to ever improve.